The Waymo taxi glides silently down Market Street, its roof-mounted sensors spinning like a crown of LEDs. Seconds later, the car brakes for a man dragging a blue tarp and a shopping cart across the same lane. In that blink, San Francisco's two realities collide. The city that programs tomorrow, and the city that can't keep a sidewalk clear today. How did the innovation capital of the world wind up with America's most visible urban emergency? And why, after pouring mountains of cash into the problem, does it only seem worse? The glitch, it turns out, isn't in the code. It's in the system running the city. Official tallies counted about 16,600 unhoused residents in 2024. But service providers insist the real figure tops 20,000 once you track the constant churn of people drifting in and out of shelters. Projections warn that number could rocket past 35,000 by 2030, triple 2010 levels, if nothing changes. San Francisco already posts the highest unsheltered rate among major U.S. cities. Nearly 6 out of every 10 people without housing sleep outside. In a place built on data, those raw numbers should be impossible to ignore, yet tents keep blooming like mushrooms after rain. Why? Because statistics alone never tell you why the tide keeps rising, only that it is. Start with the rent that defies gravity. The median one-bedroom now runs about $3,700 a month, up 60+% since 2010. The city added roughly 40,000 new housing units in that span, but gained 60,000 households, leaving a 20,000-unit hole no amount of couch surfing can patch. Tech money supercharged demand, while zoning fights throttled supply. Teachers, paramedics, even junior engineers juggle roommates like side hustles. A single paycheck hiccup, a brief illness, a sudden layoff, an off-cycle rent hike, and there's nowhere soft to land except the back seat of a Prius or a patch of pavement. Meanwhile, construction cranes keep sketching new skylines, so the public keeps asking, wait, isn't City Hall spending a fortune to fix this? Last year alone, San Francisco poured $672 million into homelessness programs. Over the past 4 years, the bill cleared $1.4 billion. A 2023 state audit applauded the spreadsheets, but blasted the results. City agencies track dollars down to the decimal, yet rarely count how many people actually exit the streets. Critics call it the billion-dollar Band-Aid. And in spring 2025, a new shockwave hit when freshly elected Mayor Daniel Lurie unveiled a deficit-plugging budget that would cut more than 100 filled jobs and shave contracts many nonprofits rely on. Supporters argued the city had to tighten belts. Opponents warned service gaps would shove even more neighbors onto curbs. In San Francisco, even the money bleeds controversy. Then there's the human crisis inside the crisis. Roughly 40% of unhoused residents battle severe mental illness. Another quarter wrestle with substance use disorders. Psychiatric beds have fallen by a third since the early 2000s, leaving jails and sidewalks to double as detox wards. Hopes soared when California's Care Court rolled out in 2024, promising court-ordered treatment for people too ill to choose it themselves. But follow-up housing remains vanishingly scarce, and funding is already thin. Meanwhile, a 2024 Supreme Court ruling, Grants Pass, granted cities wider power to clear encampments. Outreach workers now ping-pong between handing out blankets at dawn and issuing move-along orders by noon, never sure whether they're social workers or sheriff's deputies. Policy whiplash is bad on paper. Try living it while clutching everything you own in a plastic bag. Ask small business owners whether they feel the whiplash. Cafe operators near the Tenderloin report revenue drops topping 30% because regulars no longer feel safe walking the block. Residents say anxiety spikes around 2 a.m., when screams echo through alleyways and sirens replace sleep. A late 2024 poll found 62% of locals feel less safe today than 5 years ago, and more than half confess to emotional exhaustion from witnessing daily suffering. Empathy is abundant, but if empathy alone solved homelessness, San Francisco would be crisis-free by now. So, who's to blame? Ask 10 San Franciscans and you'll launch a shouting match. City Hall blames state red tape that stalls housing approvals. Neighborhood groups sue to block shelters under the NIMBY banner. Developers gripe about permit delays that outlast entire market cycles. Activists push for a vacancy tax targeting thousands of condos kept dark as investment trophies. Landlords threaten lawsuits. Meanwhile, rumors swirl that venture capital firms are quietly buying distressed hotels. Will they flip them for luxury profit or partner with nonprofits to house people? No one's sure, and trust is as scarce as studio apartments under $2,000. Is any city actually winning this fight? Houston slashed street homelessness by more than 60% since 2011 with a housing-first model. Move people directly into permanent apartments, then surround them with wraparound services. Finland virtually erased chronic homelessness the same way. San Francisco adopted housing first in name, but here each affordable unit can cost up to $750,000 and require 5 years to build. New ideas race to break that math. Modular tiny home villages that pop up in weeks, prefab high-rises that chop costs by a third, zoning changes to convert half-empty office towers into housing. Yet scaling any of them will demand political will stronger than the lawsuits already lining up to stop them. Which brings us back to the paradox at the heart of the Bay. A metropolis that can land rockets on barges, yet can't guarantee a safe bed on dry land. The money is record-breaking, the compassion genuine, the ideas plentiful, but the clock is louder than all three. If the city that invented tomorrow can't solve this disaster today, what chance does anyone else have? So here's the challenge for every viewer who made it this far. What single change, policy, technology, or mindset could finally let San Francisco reinvent housing as brilliantly as it reinvents software? Drop your fix in the comments, and let's see if the city on the edge of the Pacific can edge a little closer to the future it once promised the world.